This one's got bones and the other one doesn't have bones on it. Yeah, well done, mate. Back with another little helpful video for anyone who cares about the Jungle Hunter being made to a satisfactory level by the company Hot Toys. Apparently they took away the secret base display Jungle Hunter 2.0 a couple of days ago because they wanted to do some comparison pictures, and here they are. I guess intended as a kind of, shut up, see, we are making an accurate Jungle Hunter. Let's compare it to the classic Predator from the third movie. Oh god, the stupidity from the company and the community. Not everyone, and I see a lot of people out there who know what they're talking about and a lot of people who don't. So first off, I mean, why do Hot Toys flat out refuse to acknowledge that they made the figure on the left in the past, which I think still is a fantastic Jungle Hunter. Obviously they went for articulation more so than realism on the first one on the left, but if you pose it the right way, as you can see on my various videos I've done on the figure on the left over the years, you can find poses that really hide the joints and you get some really dynamic looking hunting poses. And they got it right for the most part on the left. You know, all those years ago, was it 12, 14? I think Justin said it was 16 years ago. I mean, maybe time flies, but either way, it's been a very long time since that figure on the left came out, and you can see the skin colouring is more accurate, the colour of the armour, the weathering of the armour, even the biomask looks more accurate there. And God knows how many other details, but they're choosing to do a comparison with the classic Predator. It's almost like they've noticed how many people in the community over the years think that the classic Predator is the Jungle Hunter, because I still see that to this day, and I still hear it to this day, people talking about the classic like it's the original. And it's like they've just decided, okay, we better go with the masses. I think Hot Toys would rather risk upsetting the minority of people who actually know what it should look like, as opposed to upsetting the masses of idiots who don't. I mean, I watched a video of someone reacting to this comparison picture today. The first video I saw, a guy in the UK basically just saying, well, this one's got bones on it, that one doesn't. This one's got a string on it, that one doesn't. And then in the comments some guy saying, you just body slammed Dean Knight's video with this video. And I thought to myself, wow. You know, I mean, I'm 44, I've got a thick skin, I've been on YouTube for almost 2 decades. I remember someone saying to me, you'll never last on YouTube, when I first started, because they didn't think I could handle all the stupidity that you'll run into. And I'm still here. I don't care. You can say what you want about me. I've got that kind of Michael Jordan, Eminem, Kobe Bryant kind of mentality where if you say anything, it just makes me stronger. It really does. It just makes me, it strengthens my resolve. It makes me want to do more videos. It makes me want to put people in their place. But I see all the comments, you know. It's about 50-50. 50% of the comments on my videos and in the community on Facebook are generally in agreement with me that this figure needs to have a lot more R&D, a lot more time put into it. And then you got the other 50% who probably only watched Predator recently because they enjoyed Prey. It is what it is. It's not like I make these videos thinking that the videos are going to go out into the world and they're going to be met with nothing but agreement. You know, I expect the other 50% to chime in. Unfortunately, we don't have a shot of the new Jungle Hunter from the same angle as the old one here on the left, but you can see obviously the biceps missing a bit of detail there, with it's very plain yellow, but look above that, they actually bothered to put the quills. They're not actually physical quills, they're just painted on his shoulder, but they thought of it and they did it, you know. I just can't believe a figure so old still outclasses for the most part this new version that we're getting. I mean, when I look at these pictures of the old one, I see Kevin Peter Hall in the suit. I do. I know probably the proportions are not as accurate as they are these days, but I see Kevin Peter Hall as Predator when I look at those original pictures of the OG Predator Hot Toys figure. I don't see him when I look at the new one. And it looks to me on the 2.0 that they've retooled the armor from the classic Predator, basically shaved off some sections, added some dings and little squares where they need to be and stuff like that, but it really does seem to be retooled classic Predator armor. Look how weathered and detailed the armor on the left is. I have that figure. I can show you actual in-hand pictures of that armor. I probably will do during the course of this video, but the one on the left looks like he's actually spent time in a jungle. The one on the right looks completely fresh off the ship, hasn't even set foot on the dirt yet. It's too clean, but they are reusing parts. I'll admit, with these comparison pictures, we can see a difference in the scale and size and dimensions of his chest and stomach area. The torso does seem to be slightly different in size, but they are using the classic Predator arms on this new figure, and they're also using the classic Predator hands, and more than likely the legs just repainted. So they are reusing parts. I'm pretty convinced the armor is retooled classic Predator armor with parts shaved off and new bits kind of sculpted in to try and conceal that fact. But we are definitely still dealing with about 30-40% reused parts. A new torso, a new mask, a new head, the shoulder cannon, sort of plasma caster, and that particular spiky shoulder armor on his left side does seem to be different. Quite obviously different here between the classic and the jungle, as it should be, because they're not the same fucking character. On the left is a picture of my Jungle Hunter figure that I've put together myself from different parts, but we have the original Jungle Hunter hands on the left and a promotional image of the Predator with Arnie on the right. And you can see that on the original, the first Jungle Hunter Hot Toys figure, they actually copied this exact hand pose, and I only noticed this recently, to be honest with you, but it just goes to show the level of passion they were pouring into that original figure. I mean, the hands look fantastic even to this day, the detail on them, but that pose with the gap between the four fingers, exactly like the image on the right, I mean, that just goes to show you. Here is an image of the original Jungle Hunter leg armor and knee guards, very weathered, lots of detail, too much detail to even talk about here, to be honest with you. And then we've got the new ones. I'm not crazy mad about the knee armor or the leg armor. I mean, it looks fine. I am curious from the other angle if it has all those little squares. Here's an image of the original Jungle Hunter kind of backpack medikit section. There's about 3 small little black cables on the original Jungle Hunter figure at the back here. I didn't get all the angles for you, but there's 2 here you can see, one there and one at the bottom, and then there's another one around the other side. I don't know if the new Jungle Hunter has those little cables. It's a little small detail, but again, just shows you how much passion they were pouring into that original release all those years ago. On the left, we have the original Jungle Hunter armor for the chest and the arm, his left arm. And on the right, we have the 2.0. Now, when I bring in this image of Kevin Peter Hall wearing the suit in bright natural daylight, things get a bit interesting. Because if you look at the actual arm armor covering his bicep, I'd say the Hot Toys 2.0 is pretty damn close, and the shoulder armor quite close as well. They've gone a bit too heavy with the damage and those 2 square things at the bottom of the shoulder armor. They're not that prominent on the real thing. They're just little details, and the kind of oil oozing out of the tube there. Little details like that go a long way. But this also reminds me of when Hot Toys tried to do the Dark Knight Christian Bale suit in 1/6 scale. If you notice the distance between everything on that arm on the 2.0, it's not right. Like in the movie, you can see he's bending his arm on the picture on the left, but the distance between everything, it's all out of proportion and not lining up correctly. And that could be down to the fact that they're trying to do all this on top of the arms of the classic Predator rather than designing a new Jungle Hunter from the ground up. And all these years later, I am not really digging the way the loincloth looks. I appreciate they've tried to do layers, but that kind of fake tearing and ripping at the ends just look really obvious. And if you compare it to the original Jungle Hunter, I do believe that they got that way more accurate in the colour of the material, the length of the material, and just everything in general about the loincloth cloth area on the original. I think looks far superior to what we see on the 2.0. Let's take a look at the original Jungle Hunter figure shoulder cannon, plasma caster. I always thought that was a very good scale next to his head. It doesn't always stick straight up like that. You can kind of half that and have it lower. Here is the 2.0. It just looks a little bit small, and also there's this extra square section underneath it that I don't think should be there. Could be wrong, but I've got some reference pictures coming up for you. One from the actual movie. See that image there? That looks like the shoulder cannon from the original figure. These are 3D prints of it. 2 different people out there who make them. I'm not seeing that square section at the bottom of the cannon like we have on the 2.0. Overall, I think the shoulder cannon on the 2.0 definitely needs some work. Back when Hot Toys made the figure on the left, the original one, there wasn't half of the amount of companies that there are today. I mean, back then there was Hot Toys, Enterbay, Medicom, Sideshow Collectibles, NECA, McFarlane, and maybe a couple of others that I'm forgetting. But now, compared to what's around when the 2.0 is in the works, we got InArt, Caustic Plastic, Blitzway, Prime One doing amazing stuff. That's a different world. That's big statues, but it's all the more reason for Hot Toys to show what they can do in 2025 when it comes to the iconic, forever iconic Jungle Hunter Predator from 1987. And instead, they're half-assing it, using old parts, some new parts, some old parts, just not paying attention to colouring of skin, weathering on armour, detailing on armour. The biomask is a whole other video that I'm not going to do that. I've already talked about the biomask in the last video with the damage and the colouring. Check out the last video to see about that. But I just think the figure on the left there, yes, the proportions, because of the articulation on the arms in particular and the waist, he's a little bit slim. But then again, Kevin Peter Hall was not exactly a big WWE wrestler, 7-foot guy. You know, he was quite slender, athletic, quite slim in the suit, and I think the first figure represented that very well. Just needed a little bit of a less obvious elbow joint in his right arm there. I'm sure there's ways to still have a double bend elbow and just fat it up a little bit so it's not so obvious toy looking in this day and age. But you're going to have a lot less articulation with this new one. You know, very similar to the Elder Predator 2 and the classic Predator by Hot Toys. The arms move, the head can move, the legs can move a little bit, the knees, the elbows, the wrists, but the torso, you're pretty much just stuck. There's no leaning in poses, no hunting poses. You're going to be quite limited with that, so I would have preferred to at least see like an ab crunch, a subtle crunch, because the netting's going to hold, kind of conceal that quite well. Would have been nice to have a little bit more articulation in the new Jungle Hunter, but if they're going for more of a realistic look, I get that. I mean, I've got no complaints with my Elder Predator 2 Hot Toys figure. Doesn't have much articulation, but the thing belongs in a museum. It's that good looking. I prefer the old base as well over this new one. They both got the same amount of foliage, the same amount of green on there, but you can't really see it here, but there's a beautiful little puddle in between the Predator's feet on the original base. Also, the base has these two kind of grooves where his feet are supposed to be placed, so he kind of locks in when you stand him on the original one. There's just not enough room for him to stand on the new one. There wasn't much room for him to stand on the old one, but I never had a problem with it. Yeah, I prefer the old base. I love the puddle. I think the leaves are more suited to what we saw in the film. These new leaves, we're getting into proper nerdy territory talking about fucking leaves. Anyway, yeah, I prefer the old base a little bit. They've tried to cram in as many references as they could into a small little base. You've got the kind of booby traps that Dutch set up, his dagger. The tree's pretty nice. I just think the tree at the back could be a bit bigger, and they could have put more green on the tree. Also, the skulls, I did say in my last video I like the detail on them, but if you look at the movie when he's in the trees and he's, you know, gathering his trophies and he's stroking the skull, appreciating it, it's very much a white bone skull, like he's cleaned it nice and clean and fresh and white. They're very dirty, like he's been throwing them in puddles of mud on the new one. That's probably why they chose to show this figure in the comparison pictures next to the Predators version, because they know even if they put the old, you know, outdated Jungle Hunter next to the new one, it will become super obvious very quickly that there are so many inaccuracies when it comes to the color, which they got right on the first one, the armor, which they got right on the first one. It'd be super obvious if they put the old Predator Jungle Hunter next to this new 2.0 in these images. That's why they probably went with the classic. So there's also the height issue as well. Someone, I forget who now, but someone showed a picture of their new Hot Toys Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator 2 in the all black look, all black leather jacket, the black t-shirt when he's holding the box of roses, and you can see how tall that figure is in the promotional pictures, and it's almost the same height, pretty much the same height as the Jungle Hunter 2.0, and Arnie was a lot shorter than Kevin Peter Hall in that suit in 1987. So the height of this figure does not seem to be anywhere near what it should be. That's another issue altogether, talking about height. But Yeah, that's about all I got the energy to talk about tonight, folks. I am a little bit exhausted about talking about this subject. I was getting ready to film a big Michael Myers custom figure video when Hot Toys dropped these images originally of the 2.0, and that kind of threw everything off in a very Predator direction. I'm just trying to help. You can say what you want about me, rolls right off my back, and just makes me want to carry on doing what I'm doing. So knock yourselves out. But for those of you out there who understand what I'm trying to do and appreciate it, bless you. Thank you, and let me know how you're feeling in the comments. Drop a like on the video so more people will find it, and subscribe to the channel because there'll always be more coming from me. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.